You're listening to BA1 Radio.
Okay, my name is Laura Ann. Oh my God, and Sarah's is Sarah Ann, and we're both with E's. How cool.
What does the name Sarah mean?
Tree.
Talking royal family. Princess.
Oh God.
Thank you very much.
Do you know what though?
Princess
She is totally a princess. Do you know what Laura means?
Oh, I had to bite my tongue and not swear then. Hello, and welcome to the Sarah and Laura Show.
You mean the Laura and Sarah Show?
Yes.
Yes, you do.
Also known as the We Get It Cancer Girls.
That's us.
Hello, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Laura.
And we are the We Get It Cancer Girls. What's We Get It, Laura?
Very, very good question, Sarah. So We Get It is the number one cancer support group in Bath. So whether you've just been diagnosed, you're in remission, you're living with cancer or living beyond, come and check us out. Plus, we're also a big fans of supporting carers that are supporting people affected by cancer as well.
Very true. Where can you find out about our monthly and weekly get-togethers?
On our fabulous website, www.wegetit.org.uk. I know you love it when I say www.
No one says that anymore.
Yeah, but it is the World Wide Web.
No one says it anymore. Everyone knows it's the World Wide Web.
I'm still going to say it.
And you can also find us on our rather wonderful social channels.
And that's what Sarah looks after. That's why she's saying that.
Thank you, Laura.
Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. She's in charge. She's pretty good, mind.
Okay, that's us. We'll come back after this break.
BA1 Radio, made by Bath, for Bath. This is BA1 Radio.
So, we get it? What are we talking about?
I get it, you get it, we get it. But we do.
What do you get, Laura?
Well, I get it. I get it when people are alone during or after cancer treatment, or they've just been diagnosed, or they're struggling with certain elements. I get it.
Okay, so that's the theme of our podcast, our broadcast, that we're here to support people with cancer, to demystify the conversations around cancer, and to have a little giggle about the funnies, have a tear about the sad things, and share all of that with people.
So the theme then, Sarah, give us the theme of what we're going to talk about on our podcast.
Well, we've thought long and hard about this, and we've come up with the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Love it.
So there are some wonderful aspects to having been ill. I don't say that lightly, and we'll explain more later. There are some terrible parts of our cancer journey, and there have been some funny times as well. And we want to share all of those with you as we take you on this little journey with us.
Yeah, I think ultimately we want to try and help other people that are going through the similar things that we went through. That's the ultimate goal.
But don't worry, we're not going to sit here and say you have to run marathons.
No way.
Not every day, because we absolutely believe that...
life's for living as well, isn't it? With cancer or without. And some days you might want to do what, Sarah?
Well, watch box sets, eat all of the biscuits, and...
not drink green juice.
Dream about Brad Pitt. Yeah, not drink green juice. What's your favourite biscuit?
This is a really good question. Oh my gosh, what just came into my head was Jaffa cakes.
So did it. Oh,
that's weird. Did you think that too?
I did, but that's not the best biscuit.
But I also like Oreos because you can take them apart.
Everyone knows the best biscuit is a custard cream.
Or a bourbon if you're
The best
old.
biscuit is a custard cream. That's it.
Okay, it's nice if you dip it.
Okay,
well, anyway, moving on.
So, aside from biscuit chat, we hope to be a little bit inspiring and also be very relatable, hence the biscuits.
Yeah. Who doesn't love talking about biscuits? But anyway, back on topic.
Okay, so let's take a break and we'll come back and we'll mull over all of that.
Love a break.
Broadcasting online at ba1radio.org. This is BA1 Radio.
So, the good, the bad and the ugly, we said. Let's start with the bad then, Laura.
The bad? Wow, I thought you wanted to start with the good.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's start with the good then. I read the thing wrong. I'm sorry. What can I say?
Okay, let's start with the good. Yeah, this is a really tricky one because I had to kind of dig deep with this one. So what good parts were there about being diagnosed with cancer? And actually, I'm going to go right back to the root thing, actually, and go, when the doctor said it's cancer, you've got non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, you start chemo in 5 days because you're very ill, I kind of got a sense of relief because I'd been misdiagnosed for 6 months, and that was actually quite a painful time for me because I kept pushing, going to the gym, going to work. I knew something wasn't right. I had pneumonia, collapsed lung, fluid on the lung, and I couldn't breathe, and my heart rate went to about 120 beats per minute. So I knew there wasn't something right, and the doctor just kept saying, oh, you know, you've got an infection, I don't know what it is yet. So when the consultant said, look, we know what it is, it was kind of like, right, finally, I know what it is. Let's get going. Let's try and get over this, and let's try and kind of work through it and look at my options. So that for me was a kind of a good point in the sense that I knew what it was and then I could do something about it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think moving forward in any... I think knowledge is power. I think knowledge is really power. And I think not knowing is a horrendous mental state to be in. And therefore, in order to do anything in any situation, knowing what you're dealing with is really crucial to kind of the next step and moving forward in that. And I think definitely I would echo that in my cancer journey, that actually I had a biopsy and I had 2 horrendous weeks waiting for news on that. And every single scenario goes through your head. And yeah, that moment where you get the news, but it's, you know, it's bad news, but it's a moment where things change and actually you can become active in what's happening to you. It isn't just happening to you. You're forearmed and forewarned as to what's going on. So yeah, I totally agree. But I would say for me, the experiences I've had through a cancer diagnosis and the opportunities it's given me, I think it's just made me a bit of a better person. It's my perspective on life has been acute. I'm not allowed to swear, but I made a something bucket to chuck all the dead wood in when I was going into treatment. And that just allowed me to clear out some of the rubbish in my life. And I think that was a really positive headspace to be in.
That's a great idea for other people as well, isn't it, to do? So you had a bucket. Talk us a bit more about that bucket, Seth.
Well, I actually made one. It was pink and it had silver letters on it. But it was mentally a process of, I don't have to deal with that. That's so irrelevant right now. I'm not going to bother worrying about that. Like, what a wonderful place to be in, to have that sense of self and have that opportunity to not worry about all the rubbish. It's really struggling not to do this without swearing. But yeah, so I think, and then I'm sat here doing a podcast with my cancer wife, and I think how lucky that I get to share that story with people, trying to help other people. But like, what a privilege to still be here when other people aren't, and hopefully change it up for other people. I think that for me has been a blessing for sure.
Super important message as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Should we take a break?
Let's do it.
That was hard work.
BA1, Bath's very own local radio station.
I love this city.
This is BA1 Radio.
Hello, this is Sarah.
This is Laura.
We're back.
We most definitely are. I love my radio voice.
Goodness me. Okay, so we've shared the good of our cancer journey. Okay, tissues at the ready. Bad. What's been the worst bit, Laura?
Okay, so worst bit for me was sitting on the bed in the RUH and just been told by the consultants that I had cancer, and my dad was coming to visit probably in approximately about 30 minutes, and I just wasn't in the right place at all, as you can imagine, to tell my dad I had cancer. So I asked the consultant if she would do it, and she kindly said, yeah, that's fine, I don't mind speaking to your dad. So when my dad came in, I had to sit on the bed and watch the consultant tell my dad that your daughter's got cancer. And I think that for me is the hardest part, because I had to watch my dad cry and also take on board that information. And yeah, I think just the impact that it had on my friends and family, like it broke my heart, you know, every time I had to tell someone and just look at their faces. And, you know, yeah, I can deal with it, but watching other people go through it with it was pretty hard.
It's a weirdness, isn't it? I've thought about this a lot, actually, and I don't know if it's a very British thing about how we manage other people's reactions to what's happening with us. And actually our fear is for other people more than it is for us. I found that a weirdness. I saw it straight away as soon as I was diagnosed, how I would worry about telling other people. I would worry about them for them. When you've got all of this going on, actually your concern is for someone else. I remember bumping into someone in the supermarket and them going, oh, hi, how are you? And you're like, oh no, do I ruin their day? Do I tell them? Or do I just do that? Oh yes, all fine. So yeah, and for me, certainly the worst, the lowest moment was when my daughters, who were then 12 and 10, asked me, oh mummy, you know, what's the worst thing that could happen to you? And I had to be really honest and say, well, the worst thing that could happen to me is that I would die. And you know, there is nothing out there that prepares you for a conversation like that. There is nothing out there. And I've been a single mum for a long time. You know, we're a little girl gang. That was really tough. You know, really tough to know how mentally they process that, or even if they have. You know, that was 3 years ago. So. Oh, you can hear it in my voice, can't you? The stress is all there. It's still there, that terrible kind of moment. But, you know, I always laugh because, you know, they're straight on to, you know, what's for tea and, you know, can I steal your mascara, that sort of thing. So, you know, and that actually I think is a lifeline in itself, isn't it? Yeah. Of all people don't always act normally around you. But actually I think my kids have, and it's, you know,
it puts you, I suppose, into perspective then when they just carry on with life. You kind of go with it too, because you have to, because you've got the children.
Well, you stay as mum, and you don't, to them, you haven't become a patient, because with their innocent minds, you haven't changed your position, whereas with other people, you do. And that can be very frustrating, can't it? Yeah.
I will tell you, when I told my mum, she actually fainted. So like me and my dad were like, Mum, are you coming round? So if you've met my mum, like she basically just collapsed. And so like it took the pressure off me a little bit. So it was like, okay, Mum, let's focus on you now. So me and my dad were like trying to bring my mum round. So actually, in a way, she brought a bit of light relief to the situation. So in a weird way.
Family,
different people deal with it in different ways, though, don't they? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's a really interesting one.
Okay, so I think what we should do is take a break and then come back and try and lighten the mood a little.
See you soon.
Bye.
Radio made by Bath for Bath. You're listening to BA1 Radio.
Okay, so we made you smile, I hope. We made you cry. I hope we didn't make you cry. Hopefully we're going to make you gig a little. So we've given you the good and the bad, and we thought we would try and lighten things up a little by sharing the ugly, the silly, the ridiculous, the embarrassing parts of what's happened to us in our journey, in our cancer stories. So I will warn you, Laura, that my story is quite funny.
Okay, Sarah, bring it on.
Just saying. You want to go first?
Yes, I'd love to. Thank you very much. Okay, so my ugly or silly story was that I had really long blonde hair, and then when I went through cancer treatment, I had to chop it all off, and I was going to lose my hair. So I went kind of in stages. So I went to like a short haircut, but then suddenly, like all my friends seemed to become like expert like hairdressers that weren't even hairdressers. They'd be like, "Hey Laura, can I cut your hair, please? I've got like this pair of scissors, and I've got this like shaving tool. Let me just like, can I cut a bit off and like, you know, do something here?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, freestyle, go for it." So my hair had like really weird moments, to the point where on my last chemo I ended up with a bit of fluff on the top of my head. So my friend was like, "Can I take you to the barber's to get like, you know, like it completely shaved?" So I was like, "Yeah, okay, why not? You know, let's go for it." And then I just walked out the barber's with like a completely shiny bald head, like, and the sun was like just bouncing off, and it was like that episode of Friends where Ross dates this really beautiful girl, and then Rachel convinces her to shave her head. And it was just like that moment of like when people were like stare at me anyway, but they were staring even more because it was shiny and bald and like just like a little bit greasy, you know. It's just a bit weird. It's just, but anyway, I look like a Buddhist monk. I literally look like a Buddhist monk, but you know, and I like Buddhist monks. But yeah, so that's my story.
I love the way your friends only took an interest in your hair when you had none.
They loved it. Everyone loved touching my bald head.
Oh,
you know,
was that not really annoying?
I think it made them feel better. So I was like, yeah, go ahead, touch it if you want to touch it, because it was that kind of like they were scared to kind of know what to say. So I was like, touch it if you want. So it's like,
did they ask their granddads who were bald if they could touch their heads as well? It's not like something you would
like
never
a granddad bald head.
I'm sure it was very glamorous.
It was a beautiful shiny one.
You could see from the
Wales. We haven't mentioned Wales, by the way.
We will, though. Don't you worry.
So, Sarah, tell us, because obviously yours is going to be the best one. Tell us your ugly, funniest moment throughout your cancer treatment.
Well, it was quite funny because I had this a rare cancer called a sarcoma, which is a bone and soft tissue cancer. I'd urge you all to Google that and find out about sarcomas. I'm sure actually we'll get to that at some point on this radio journey, because I would like to talk more about that. But I had very complicated surgery following radiotherapy. I basically had most of my left calf removed, filled by lots of, and my fibula, just a little thing that's been taken out as well, filled by lots of fat and muscle from my right thigh. So that's the plastic surgery bit. So it looks okay, although I've got some fairly amazing scars. But it does mean that my foot doesn't move, and my foot does move. It doesn't move brilliantly, and my ankle's impaired as well. So because sarcomas are rare, the team at Southmead, who look after me, who have been incredible, who are also a teaching hospital, record all these things along the way so that they can share it with their students, because these are rare things and the surgery is so unique. On one particular journey to the clinic at Southmead, I was asked if I would mind having my legs photographed as part of the education bit. Absolutely, yeah, not a problem. I'll have my photo taken. You know me, Laura.
Yeah, you love it.
Love having my photo taken.
Love it.
Yeah. But I had on a top, a thong and a skirt. And when I went there, I said, did they have any gowns? And they had no gowns. I went, oh, okay.
Awkward.
Is this fine? Just some photographs of your lower leg. Oh, okay, that's fine. Hitched my skirt up, had some photos taken. And they read to the bottom of what my surgeon had requested. Oh, actually, he wants some video of you, of you hopping. Really? I don't hop ordinarily. Wow. Didn't hop before cancer. Don't really think I can hop now anyway, but I'll give it a go. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I hopped on one leg. Obviously, that is hopping. On my toes, left, right, forward and back. thong, away from the camera. There wasn't a lot left to the imagination. And then when I finished, I realised that I'd signed away that they could use this footage anywhere across the World Wide Web, the www.
MG.
So I was mortified, told my surgeon off and said if I'd known I'd worn massive knickers. He was very apologetic and said that he would trash all this footage, but I don't know. It is possible if you Google...
Did he really?
Sarah, sarcoma, hopping. Don't know what else you'd need to put in a search engine. It's possible. It could be there. I would say This is an advisory. Don't do it.
Do it.
So yeah, these are the kind of things that, like weird and wonderful things that, wouldn't ordinarily have happened had I not had most of my leg chopped out.
And there's plenty more.
Is that a winning story?
Look, Sarah, it's not a competition, okay? It's not a competition. It's the Laura and Sarah show at the end of the day.
I think that means I'm a winner. Okay, so let's take a break after all of that nonsense. We'll be back.
See you soon.
This is BA1 Radio. Radio made by Bath for Bath.
We're back. This is Sarah.
This is Laura.
So we're kind of rapidly getting to the end of our very first broadcast. It's been very exciting. Thank you to BA1 Radio for having us.
Thank you, Luke and Luke.
Thank you, Luke and Tom. Thanks for tuning in. We'd love to hear what you thought. You can contact us on our social channels. Tell us what you thought. Tell us what you want to hear about.
Do you have a bit of the good, the bad, and the ugly to share?
Definitely want to hear your ugly stories.
We do.
Yeah. Can you top mine? Because mine won today.
Right, no one's... Right, who's marking? Like, where's the head teacher? Like, who's marking these?
Me. Okay, so if they'll have us, we'll be back for more The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, more cancer stories, more stories beyond cancer, more fun, more giggles. Thank you for listening.
And in the meantime, check out www.wegetit.org.uk and our social media. Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
BA1 Radio made by Bath for Bath. This is BA1 Radio.